Hey, cornbread review off the bat, bro.
You might not like my review then, man. Yeah, so all in all, man, I ended up coming up 2.5 out of 5. Two of them things.
Yo.
5 out of 5 cornbreads for the cornbread review. What you think?
Welcome back to another Cornbread Movie review. But this time it's not a movie. I'm giving y'all another TV series that you need to check out right now. If you haven't noticed on social media, like I said, I gave you a whole week to catch up, and we only gonna talk about part one in this episode. Part one. It's 4 episodes, but this is the first one. All right, we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna drop an episode every week and talk about each part. All right. This episode is called "Exterminate All the Brutes." Have you heard of it? If you haven't, you need to. Exterminate all the brutes. This shit is real. Very knowledgeable, man. I'm mind blown. Normally, what I do with series is I do wait to halfway and then talk about it, but it's so much to unpack in each episode. I have to break this down in each one, right? So in these 4 parts, you're gonna get my opinion on some things, and you're gonna get the narrative's story or the narrative's truth on what's going on. So once again, Exterminate All the Brutes. This show is on HBO. I don't know if you guys have HBO or not, but it's on HBO. So if you do, make sure you watch this series now. It's a 4-part series, as I said. It's filmed by Raoul Peck. Brutes is a term that's used like to show that you're an animal, like your status is an animal, right? It's a way to demean you. It's a way to look down or justify kind of what you're about to do to that person. So that brutes is kind of like that term, right? So that's kind of what this means. So the show opens up. It has the Seminole Nation. Seminole Nation was a tribe of Indians, and they're called the Invincible Tribe. And I was wondering why, but even the narrator said it's because they didn't have a treaty with the U.S., bro. Like, like they weren't shaking hands and kissing babies, man. No, they knew that, hey, this is our land. Whoever you're trying to colonize and take over, this is our land. But this show gets deep, and we're going to get into every bit of it. The narrator's voice, so we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it, bro. This dude sound like Master Splinter, man. Like, at first, it was bothering me a lot, right? The narrator, like, why do you sound like that? But over time, he's very knowledgeable. You get past that. And to me now, it's kind of cool that he has a voice that's like dark and mysterious, but funny, right? Like, you'll know what I'm talking about when you watch the series. But so you'll get past the voice. One thing that stuck out as well, he said, all history is not full history. It's not fully true, right? And that makes sense. So I had a conversation with one of my guys. He said, well, 1619 was obviously when the boats came over, when slavery kind of started, right? But he said, what happened at 1618? Did slavery or did Africans not exist? I said, bro, of course they did. But they lost. Anybody who loses a war, you're not going to write the history books, right? Only the winners write the history books. So that's what he's kind of saying, that just because it's based off a true story or it's history, it's because they won, right? And they wrote their opinion, their biasness into whatever you're learning now. Not the people who lost or the people that was before them when you took over. They don't get to write their history, right? So I'm glad that this show is kind of tackling from the beginning of America and the beginning of the world on how things changed. And we're going to get into it, man. So I appreciate it. Also, I appreciate my guy, Sykes, man. He put me on this show. So shout out to Sykes. I appreciate you, but we're going to talk about every part of this show. Let me fix my camera. Okay. A little 4K, a little clear. It's back in focus, man. So, you know, we family on this show, so we're going to get into everything. So you'll see in this series, you got a lot of actors, and they're reenacting Indians, colonizers, whatever. But some of those things take place in the 1800s, right? So it's good to kind of see how slaves and Native Americans were talking, and even when different white groups will try to take over them, kind of get in that huddle and kind of see what they talked about, right? Some people wanted to have a conversation with the people who are going to try to kill them and take over their land. Others like, no, ain't no conversation, man. So it's always good to see that dynamic of the inside of, be a fly on the wall during those times. The only actor that I can pick out is Josh Hartnett. He was in Pearl Harbor, 40 Days and 40 Nights. So, like I said, I'm going to put him next to me so you'll see what he looks like. But he's the only known actor so far that I've seen from part one. But he's ruthless in this show so far, man. He only has a couple lines, but he's about that action too, man. So, I don't know who he's supposed to portray, but his ideologies, and he might be just a symbol on who he's playing, right? He might not be a specific person, but a symbol for what happened. So I really like that. This is a violent show, man. Some things is very hard to watch. You know, even though you know it's history, but at the some things you shouldn't see, man. So this is very difficult to watch. I would say if you want to watch this with your kids, make sure they're teenagers. I'm sure it's rated R, but I wouldn't watch this with any preteens because of how violent it is. They might not understand it. Historical wise, they need to watch it, right? At least hopefully as an audio book, they can just listen to it. But visually, if you got a teenager, watch this with them. Anybody under 15, 16, I will kind of wait. This is discussed, like I said, the past and present of race, dominance, poverty, ownership. America's huge on ownership. We need to own and buy everything, right? We don't care how it's made. We don't care about what it took to get there. We buy it. I want it, right? We don't care about the labor and the enslaved people that have to deal with that. And this show talks about it. Like I said, once again, one of the best quotes that needs to be answered, and that really struck me. The quote was, "Why do you take with force when you can have with love? And where does your jealousy come from?" Right? Like, these are huge questions, right? Like, if you see a piece of land that nobody has, you know, why can't we all get a piece, right? Or who owns this? Let me try to find out. Okay, y'all own this because y'all showed me this for free. I love y'all. Can I join your tribe? Not conquer. I need to kill all y'all and take all y'all shit, bro. Like, why is it straight to just violence, right? And that quote really stuck to me. And then where's your jealousy come from? Like, if you see other people have something that you don't have, learn or make your own, right? Make another hole. That's a great quote. Like, come on, man. Like, I understand that this country is built on other people, slaves off their back, but why take stuff all the time, especially with violence, man? Like, there has to be more love than darkness in this world. And I hope one day that we get to it. Once again, this show is Exterminate All the Brutes, and that's kind of what they're doing, bro. I'm really excited. Another thing, I think this is halfway in between the first part of the show. It said Christianity, like, you know, when you move from, let's say, Europe to America, right? The big thing was they're moving because of religion. And this show was saying, no, that's not true, right? They saw that if you had clean blood, you're a Christian, and everybody else is unclean blood, right? Like, if you're not a Christian, that you're not part of this faith, then you're lesser, and that you should be exterminated, or you shouldn't be by where they are. But I look at it as also people left because of obviously poverty. They tried to better their future and to conquer, bro. Like, that's built in them. They have to take over something, right? So that's kind of what I got with that. The settlers and the conquerors. Some, like I said, one scenes were hard to watch. I also learned, I didn't know this. Maybe I did and it slipped my mind. But the Nazis had a meeting at Madison Square Garden. I don't know how he got this film. Like, the guy who narrates this or who did all the research on this, great job, man. You get a 5 out of 5 from me, man, because you got. But I did not know that Nazis had a meeting in 1939. Look it up. 1939. Nazis had a meeting in Madison Square Garden, man. So I don't know if that's cancel culture or not, but that's shocking to me, man. I'm lost for words. Also, Africa, I don't understand this, how Africa is the richest continent with minerals, but it's the poorest of people. It's sad. It's the poorest of people, man. Like, come on, bro. When other continents saw that Africa had everything needed, and everything that they could use for like inventions, everything to sustain life, everything that they can hold and keep and trade, it was a free-for-all. They took over Africa, and they still are there now, you know. But it kind of, this part one starts from start to finish on how that happened and who took over certain regions. So like I said, they treated Africa as a free-for-all, man. So I hope things change, even though in my lifetime it probably won't. But you know, I feel sorry for the people who live in genocide every day because of this, right? And my last thing that we're going to talk about in part one that we have to unpack is, it's amazing how somebody can invent something, but it creates more slavery. Like, I'm sure the intention to make the bicycle, right, and the tires were rubber, but whoever invented that didn't say, okay, well, I'm assuming he didn't make the bike hoping that it caused more slavery, but it did, right? Now there's slavery because they need to keep producing this rubber for this bike that was invented. So I'm intrigued for part two, part three, part four. So like I said, once again, this is Exterminate All the Brutes. This is part one on HBO. It's a 4-part series. Every week, I'm going to give y'all, we're going to unpack each episode. We have to. This is part one. Next week, I'm going to talk about part two. Make sure you like, subscribe. Just because you subscribe doesn't mean you have notifications on. Make sure you hit that bell so you know when I'm dropping each episode. Once again, I love y'all. Leave your comments. Let me know if I'm far off, if I need to unpack something more, I didn't clearly explain something, or I missed something, right? I didn't catch everything. I'm writing notes. I'm staying in tune, but I'm writing notes at the same time. So please share this video. Let me know what you think. I'll be back with another Cornbread Movie review, but this is a TV series review, man. I love y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.